Tonight our special guest is mayoral candidate Phil Goff. It's looking good for Phil if the latest polls are to be believed. It appears that 60% of the voting public will put a tick beside his name when it comes time to filling out our postal ballots. Phil Goff, welcome to The Beat Goes On.
Thank you very much. Good to be
Wonderful
here,
to
Jim.
have you in our humble studios.
Nice to be here on this Monday night.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Look, I know you're busy because you're heading towards the big one, the Mayor of Auckland.
Yeah.
Mayor of Auckland. Look, I looked at the results in the paper last week. It was in the Herald, and it said Phil Goff 60%. Then it came down to Victoria Crone at 15, John Polino at 8.
Yeah,
and
but
somebody called Thomas at 3, and I thought, I don't think Phil's got to do anything. Are you worried about that?
No, look,
the complacency creeping in?
There's only one ballot that ever counts,
Yeah.
and that's the one when you count out what people have voted after the voting has closed. So absolutely stupid to be complacent. I'm working every hour that God gives me at the moment.
You've learned that lesson, have you?
Well and truly.
History of politics.
I'm what's called a retread. I've won 10 elections, but I lost one.
Yeah.
And I learnt my lesson from losing one election, that you are only there at the pleasure of your electorate. And every day, as Helen Clark used to say, that you are in office is a privilege that you have to earn. So, look, my big worry about, loose talk about, it's going to be a walkover, is that only encourages people to be complacent
and not even turn up to vote.
Really important for people to get out and vote. Everybody's vote is equal in this election, and if I'm to be elected as mayor, I need a strong mandate from the people of Auckland, so that when I'm negotiating with the Wellington bureaucrats and the Wellington ministers, I can say I am there representing Auckland.
And if they were to say back, but Phil, there was only 10% of the people
then my credibility isn't as strong as it needs to be. No, it is important. It's about the future of our city, and it's important. Look, I'm not telling people who they should vote for. Every individual makes their own mind up. But please get out and vote.
And don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
But who could be better qualified than Phil Goff? I mean, let's look at your. I mean, going into politics, you were the youngest cabinet minister I read, and
in 84.
84, and you were the Minister of Housing. Wow.
My first portfolio, which is a bit like your first love, you never forget it.
Yes, exactly.
and I loved that portfolio. It was the way that I could make a difference, and it's one of those tangible portfolios where, as I got the houses built, and we put the loans out, and we created the social housing, you knew that you were making a difference in people's lives. You know, what's more fundamental to any of us than having a stable home, a decent, warm, healthy home, and one that you can afford? And that's always been my philosophy. If you don't have a good home, it affects your education. If you've got a cold, damp, unhealthy home, it affects your health and your education and your workplace. So, having access to affordable housing is really the foundation of our social system, and so many Aucklanders don't at the moment. I bought my first home for $12,500. I tell my kids that, and they hate it. That was well, put it in context though. That was
probably 200,000 today.
That was 2.5 times my annual salary. But my kids are paying 5 or 6 times, and young people going out and buying a home today, they'll be paying on average 10 times their annual household income. And that Kiwi dream that we all shared, that's being lost. And you and I are okay, and our generation's okay. But what about our kids? What about our grandkids?
So what are you going to do first day? Sitting in that office, telephone goes, who are you going to call?
Yeah. Well, there's going to be a lot of calls. I think the first thing is that you have to establish a professional relationship with central government. Auckland can't do it on its own. It needs to have a good working relationship with government. And that means treating central government professionally, but demanding that they treat Auckland City in exactly the same way. I think that the central government bureaucrats have treated Auckland with contempt. The people in Wellington kind of think that we're a big provincial town. We're not. We're actually a small global city. We're going to grow by 1 million people in the next 25 years. So the solutions to Auckland have to be different from the solutions to anywhere else in New Zealand. And they need to understand that unless we can deal with congestion, unless we can get affordable housing, this city won't succeed. And if we don't succeed, New Zealand can't succeed.
Phil, I note with great interest you left home at 16.
Yeah, a
You're
bit
born-
involuntarily,
Yeah.
actually.
Born 1953?
Yeah, it was a good
Yeah.
year. A month after the Queen ascended to the
Yes,
throne and
yeah.
Hillary climbed Mount Everest. So
Pension in a couple of years? Now, are you just taking this job so you can hang on till you get the pension?
no. Look, I have absolutely no thought of retirement. While I've got the good health, and I'm extraordinarily lucky. I think I've had 3 days off work in 30 years in Parliament.
You're looking well.
I cut 2 lots of lawns a week and I work on the farm. That's my exercise. But as long as I've got the good health, I've got the energy and the enthusiasm, I'll put in the 80 to 100-hour weeks. When I run out of any one of those things, I'll be calling it quits. But no time soon.
But 16 years old, you left home.
Yeah.
Big argument with Dad. He
Yeah, I
said,
think
come
it was-
on, you boys, get out.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Is that how it happened?
Yeah,
You went
I
to
was
the freezing works?
I was down visiting a girlfriend, and he thought I should be home doing some chore that he'd given me. And he's still alive. He's 95. We've got over the difference. He was old school.
He's finally saying he's sorry, Dad.
Or it might be the other way around.
I want to hear that story. You got home from your girlfriend.
Okay.
We
I didn't.
digressed a bit there, so-
The old man turned up at my girlfriend's place and said, "Yeah, you're meant to be home. Yeah."
You're 16 years old.
Yeah. Bugger off then. Okay, I will. And where did I go? My older brother, was flatting with a young fella called Mike Moore. So he went on to be head of the Prime Minister of New Zealand, head of the World Trade Organisation, and I couch surfed at their place. I worked my school holidays to finish off.
You were in the freezing works?
Yeah, I did 7 seasons in the freezing works over 7 years.
What were you doing in the freezing works?
I worked on
all
I was a slaughterman on the beef chain, the mutton chain. I worked in the boning room. I just about did the whole lot, actually. And that was part of my learning about life too. It's all very well to get a university education, but I learned a lot from particularly the old guys on the chain, because they were the older generation. And I kind of looked up to them, and they taught me some hard facts about life. And I learnt this too, that 2 hours on the chain between 1 in the afternoon and smoko at 3 o'clock were longer than a 15-hour day in Parliament. By the time you'd worked, I reckon I used to, one time I was skinning kidneys, I must have done 15,000 kidneys a day. Those guys earned their money. You work at the pace of the chain, you don't have a break.
You don't have a break.
You're
going for it. Yeah.
But that put me through university and bought me my Norton Commando motorbike, which was the one luxury I had in life as a student.
And then, of course, the rest is history. You went to university and did political science. And,
I studied there, did a master's degree, first class honours in politics, and then I taught there for 4 years. And, everybody said to me, "You're doing a degree in what? Politics? What sort of job are you going to find with politics?" So there you go. I mean, look, the process of learning. My 2 boys, but Dad's a tradesman, fitter and turner.
Yeah.
My 2 sons are both tradesmen, a refrigeration engineer and an electrician. It doesn't matter whether you're at university or you're learning a trade. The important thing is that you learn how to solve a problem and the skills that you need to solve that problem. And that gives you self-confidence and it gives you self-esteem. So I say to all of our kids out there, look, if you want to go to university, go to university. If you want to pick up a trade,
do it.
Become a technician, do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you do, but learn the skills that will help you get through life.
Now, the mayoralty came up. You could have remained in Parliament for a good amount of years yet.
I could have done 40 years.
Yeah.
What attracted me?
What attracted you? You heard that the mayoral contest was coming up. You thought,
yeah,
I'll give that a go. Or did somebody suggest it to you?
A lot of people suggested it to me, and I kind of shrugged it off. I said, no, look, I love my life in Parliament. The hardest part about running for the mayoralty would be giving up my seat in Mount Roskill. I've served that electorate for 32 years. And I love that place. I mean, the relationship I have with my local electors, I can go anywhere in Mount Roskill. People come up, they talk to you. It's enormously satisfying to be there, to have the privilege of representing your electorate. But so why local government?
Yes.
Well, under the old system, I wouldn't have. But we've created this thing that we probably misnamed the super city. And that's 35% of New Zealand's population. It's 37% of its production, and as I said before, it's 50% plus of our growth. I figured out that we need, in Auckland, for our city to succeed. We're the one international city in New Zealand. We are the city. There's a guy I worked with at one stage called Paul Callaghan, Sir Paul Callaghan. He was a physicist, he was an entrepreneur, he was an academic. And he wrote a book from wool to weta, weta being the digital version. And he said,
From wool to weta.
yeah, it was, how we've gone from commodities, but what do we do as a country to succeed? And his formula was this: we've got to be a place that attracts talent and enterprise, where talent wants to live. And what's going to do that?
Silicon Valley. That's where talent wants to live, don't they?
Yeah. And what city's going to do that for New Zealand? It's got to be Auckland. We've got a beautiful environment. We've got scale to give us choice and opportunity, and where we work, where we learn, where we play. And Auckland's got to succeed. Look, I've lived all my life in Auckland, born in Mount Eden, raised in Mount Roskill, out to Papatauitau, around different parts of the city, living in a small farm now in Ardmore. And I thought, look, I've learned a lot in my 32 years in politics. I've learned
Can't help it, can you?
15 years as a minister. I know how to run a budget. I know how to work with people. I know how to problem solve. A change. Here's a good one. A change is as good as a rest. Why not use what I've learned to try to help the city that I live in, that my kids are growing up in, where my grandkids from next month are going to be growing up in. And I thought that is a challenge that's worthwhile. It might be the best decision I've made. It might be the worst decision I've made, but I really want to give it a go. I want to do my best for the city that has given me a whole lot in life.
Before we go, Phil, people that have really had a great effect on your life. I noticed Roger Douglas was one. Helen Clark, of course, another one.
Mike Moore I'd put in
Moore,
that. And look, who are my heroes in life? I'll lay them out. Michael Joseph Savage, for the reasons I've explained. What is the Labour Party about? It's about applied Christianity. I thought that summed it up. Gandhi, the man that said, "An eye for an eye will leave the whole world blind."
What a great saying,
fantastic guy. And Nelson Mandela. There's a man, the best years of his life stolen from him, oppressed because of the colour of his skin, could come out, could be the leader of his country, could show that he believed in forgiveness and reconciliation. Wow, what a man. What a man. They did steal the Springbok, the Test office in the World Cup,
we gave them that one.
It was an acknowledgement to Mandela.
But you could write a great book, couldn't you, Phil? I mean, those wonderful Longy years, the Roger Douglas stopping for a cup of tea.
Longy was
Helen
another
Clark,
guy that I dealt with Longy from well before he went into Parliament. There was a big man with a big heart. He, when he could have been making a fortune, he was so bright, thought on his feet. But he was doing legal aid work for practically nothing. Came in with a vision, the man that led us to be nuclear free. When he and Douglas were working together, that combination of hard-headed economics and social liberalism and progressive politics was a great mix. When they fell apart, so too did the government. That was a disappointment.
It was an exciting time for us baby boomers.
It was.
Really was.
It was a tough time, but in the end, we took the hard decisions, and nobody's reversed most of those changes.
Now, isn't it something about our age? But I thought politics back then were more exciting than they are today.
Well, there was the Right Honourable Robert Muldoon. And look,
they were exciting, weren't they?
He was a tough rooster.
Things are so... They're organised now, aren't they? There's no rough and ready and raw, is there?
The one thing I don't forgive Muldoon for, I've got to say, is he abolished Kirk's superannuation scheme. If we'd kept that scheme in 75, we would still own our own country. That money would have been invested in New Zealand, and we wouldn't have that pressure that with all of us baby boomers retiring,
It was the silliest mistake of all. It
was a politically calculated but dumb decision. It might have won him an election, but it lost us a generation of savings that this country really needed.
I've got 100 things I wanted to ask you, but we've run out of time. And I glanced down there and I think, I'd love to ask you about that. But,
another time.
Yes. Look, I'm going to wish you the best for
Thank you very much.
October the 8th. It's not far away now, is it?
No, it's coming up pretty quickly. So my message is don't forget to vote.
Yes, let's go over that again. Tell New Zealand, or tell Auckland, not to become too complacent. You need a good mandate. And,
the voting papers have come through the mail. Don't put those voting papers and leave them on the fridge. Fill them out, vote. It's your say over the future of the city. If I'm to be elected, I need a mandate to negotiate on behalf of Auckland to central government with.
Yeah.
If a third of the people turn out, it's less of a mandate than if we get a bigger turnout. So please use your vote. It's up to you how you vote, but please make sure you do it. Thanks.
Good on you,
Thanks,
Bill.
Jared.
Best
Cheers,
of luck.
mate.
Okay,
Yeah.
see you soon. Even though you won't need luck. Best of luck.
Bit of luck and a bit of good management, I think.